Hey ladies, welcome back. I am Nava, your host, and this is Somebody Come Listen to This podcast. Long time no here. I've been really busy working and just going through some life changes. Today, y'all, as you can see, the title of the video is called Quiet Quitting. You could do this at work, but this video is mostly about quiet quitting in relationships. Some of you may have heard about this and some of you may have not, but quiet quitting in a relationship is something that a lot of women do when we get tired of talking and trying to be heard and trying to be understood by either our husbands or our boyfriends. They call it nagging when we're trying to, discuss important things with them concerning our lives, our kids, ourselves, our relationships. They don't want to hear it. So I'm going to show a few videos from some ladies who are speaking on quiet quitting. And I'm also going to show some videos from some of the male species about quiet quitting. And if you pay attention, their responses are for the most part, polar opposites. What men have to say about it and what women have to say about it is polar opposite. Women, we know why we quietly back out of relationships months or sometimes even years before we really actually leave. We will mentally check out, and we all know the signs of that, but I will come back and talk some more after I show you guys these videos from what the other ladies had to say about it. I'll be right back.
Quiet quitting a relationship. Now, we've all heard about quiet quitting in the workplace, and I think that can be a good thing, setting some boundaries at work. But quiet quitting in a relationship is totally different. It's a state of not feeding the relationship anymore. You or your partner is doing the bare minimum. You're not leaving, but you're not doing anything to move the relationship forward. And there could be a lot of reasons why people do this rather than end the relationship. Your partner or yourself might feel like you want the relationship to continue, but there are issues that you've tried to address. There's been no change, so you've sort of given up. And as a result, resentment builds, and you or the other party check out. How do you know if you've been quiet quitting or if your partner's been quiet quitting? Have you been avoiding conversations around issues that you've had, or have you not been talking to avoid conflict? Are you coming up with reasons why you're not spending quality time with your partner? Ask yourself, have you been avoiding going home, staying at work late, or sitting in your car when you get home, listening to songs rather than go inside? Do you talk to friends, family, anyone and everyone else about your relationship issues rather than talk to your partner? Are you on your phone, or are you daydreaming about being other places when you're with your partner? Do you find yourself being in the same physical space with your partner, but are you avoiding touching them or interacting with them? Are you finding reasons not to plan or talk about the future? Are you resigning yourself to the idea that things will never change, this is just the way it's going to be, so there's no reason to try? These are all signs of quiet quitting in a relationship, and it can feel very lonely. So what to do? You need to find a way that you and your partner can get together again so you can be vulnerable and talk about your issues. I would recommend talking to a counselor, talking to a therapist, meeting with a mediator, finding a place that's safe that you can talk about your issues so you can get on the same page. Let me know what you think in the comments.
I first off want to just validate this person. It is extremely valid after trying to communicate so many different ways, so many different times, that you eventually just get quiet because you stop trying to put the energy out. And I have personally done this in past relationships. I just kind of start to shut down because you get exhausted of trying in different ways. I would ask the question, I would actually write down for yourself and make this kind of a strategy. How have I been communicating what I'm trying to communicate to this person? So in both my words and my actions and the energy that I'm putting out in the household, how am I seeking to communicate what I need more or less of in this relationship in order to make it healthier? Because I want you to kind of analyze the process that you're using to go about this. Because I do think that some people say, well, I've asked a million times, I've ignored them for a day, and I've said it straight, and I have, put a note under their pillow, and I've yelled and screamed and fought with them about it. And so there is something to be said about looking at the ways that you've communicated verbally and non-verbally what is not working for you, and saying, maybe there's something that I haven't tried, because everyone receives communication different. I do think that sometimes when people start to quiet quit, their partner's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? You're not engaging with me. You don't want to have physical intimacy with me anymore. You don't want to go out on dates. You don't want to spend time, whatever it is that partner is missing. I think it's a strategy on the partner who's experiencing this dysfunction, or just struggling with the dysfunction more. So they start to do this quiet quitting thing. It does a lot of times get the other partner's attention. Notice if it doesn't get your other partner's attention. Also, really, really helpful to go to a professional, hire someone to work with, a therapist, a coach, so that you can share what you have been doing to make sure that you're getting another set of ears on that. And to give you another perspective, right? Because you might say, oh, well, I've been doing XYZ and I've done it 50 times and they haven't listened. Well, that professional might say, okay, but have you tried this, right? Like, have you tried to phrase it this way? Have you tried this strategy instead? Because sometimes the things that we are doing aren't getting through to our partner, and someone else has ideas about how we might do that differently, or how what we're doing might not be working.
When a man says he was blindsided by his divorce, my perspective typically is that his partner was likely quiet quitting their marriage for a long time. We often hear about how women initiate most divorces in heteronormative relationships, and that men can feel really blindsided by the request for a divorce. And what I think has happened in many marriages over a long period of time is that after lots of discourse, specifically about the same thing over and over, and a lack of meaningful change, the woman tends to decide to stop engaging. No longer will she be emotional. No longer will she be asking for more from her partner. No longer will she be looking to them for any sort of meaningful partnership, because she's tried. Right? Oftentimes we hear about how women are so emotional and they're never satisfied, and nobody's happy if mom's not happy, and that they're basically always asking for more from their partners. They're saying, great, you helped me do the dishes, but now can you do it right? Great, you provided me emotional support one time, but can you make sure to be an emotional support partner to me over the course of our marriage? And I think what happens from the male side is typically they are defensive. Men tend to be defensive when their partners come to them asking for any sort of change or engagement level that they're not comfortable with. Not only are they defensive, but sometimes instead of being defensive, they just appease their partner. They say like, yes, I will do that. Yes, I will change. Yes, I love you and I want to do better for you. And then they don't do that. And so after going through that cycle enough times, asking and being met with a yes, but no action, or asking and being met with defensiveness, asking and being dismissed, many women are saying, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to protect my emotions. I'm going to protect my time. They might remain in that marriage for an extended period of time. There might be no fighting. And that's typically what men will say, like, we weren't fighting. Nobody was angry. There was nothing going on. Like, there was no big catalyst for this. And that's usually true. There was no big catalyst. It was just a bunch of little things that added up over time. And she got to a point where she decided, I'm no longer going to pour myself into this. I am now going to protect myself, and I'm going to bide my time, essentially quiet quit, until there's an appropriate point where I can actually leave. And I'm not advocating for this by any means. I personally think communication and counseling and things like that are very, very important. But I do think that's a big part of this narrative of being blindsided by divorce. They were blindsided because their partner had no longer been engaging with them in the way they had been historically. And so they seemed happy. But typically somebody doesn't just become more laid back or careless about something when there's been no actual meaningful change. It's not like they just stopped caring about that thing. They've likely just stopped looking to their partner as a safe person to engage with, and not really a partner at all.
Well, hey there, y'all. So in today's Quiet Quit Your Bullshit news, y'all, as I often do, I was flipping through the news sections, trying to find something to make a video about, killing time before I have to clock in for work. And then I came across this from Newsweek that said women are quiet quitting their marriages. I will be honest and say that I was immediately pissed and on the defensive. So I watched their little video and I'd like to share it with you, and then we will meet back here to discuss. Are there any other women out there who are as righteously pissed off at that as I am? Can I just say, as the survivor of two different marriages, that I did not quietly quit shit. You see, I was too busy working, taking care of the children, doing all of the housework, doing the yard work, doing minor repairs around the house, trying to scrape together money to pay the bills, trying to find people to fix things that go wrong in the house, literally doing everything because my partner expected to be able to work and come home and do nothing. So Newsweek says that quiet quitting is a trend in marriages where one partner emotionally checks out without communicating their dissatisfaction. I call bullshit on that too. Do you know how many times women have to tell their partners, we're exhausted, we need help, can you please maybe fix dinner tonight? Can you put the children to bed? Can you read them a story? Can you help with homework? Can you take the trash out? Can you get the car's oil changed? Can you fucking do anything at all to help ease the burden of running an entire household? Women initiate about 70% of divorces, often surprising their husbands who were unaware of the marital issues. If those husbands were unaware, it was not because they weren't told. It is because they were willfully ignoring the cries of help from their spouse. The freeze response in a marriage is when a spouse shuts down and disengages due to feeling trapped. Yes, I will agree with this one. After years and years of being ignored and being alone in a two-person marriage, yeah, eventually you do emotionally shut down. And this comes as no surprise. Yes, if you are in a marriage where things are not equal, where there are not two active partners helping and supporting each other, yes, if there is intimacy, it is typically obligatory because you feel like you have to. This one pissed me off. The trend reflects a society that favors passivity over open communication, similar to ghosting and dating in workplaces. The fuck it is. Sorry, but this trend reflects a society that doesn't expect men to seek mental health resources or any kind of active participation in a marriage. This reflects a society that still thinks that a woman has to do it all, but a man just has to show up. Do you know how many times I begged and pleaded for counseling throughout my marriages? For years. And then when I was ready to go, then they wanted to pursue counseling. When I finally got fed up and made the decision to leave, that was when they wanted counseling. So yes, by then it's too late. Women usually file for divorce after extensive financial and emotional planning for themselves and their children. No shit, Sherlock, because we are the only ones financially planning, the only ones caring for the children. The fuck? Even if the husband realizes the seriousness of the situation, it can be too late as the wife has emotionally disconnected for years. and yet they still act like, what happened? Of course things were good for them. Of course everything was great. They got to work and come home and do fuck all. They got to expect sex without expecting to show up and do anything else in that home. Why would they want that to change? Anyway, just wanted to share that with y'all and tell you.
So that was some of the ladies' responses. And, like always, they seem logical. And, quiet quitting can be done on both sides, from the men and the women. But to me, it seems like when the women do the quiet quitting, it's because they're preparing themselves mentally to be single. They're thinking about what needs to be done. They don't quiet quit because they're angry or as a weapon. Women are just strategizing and trying to detach emotionally, versus when men quiet quit is because their minds are just totally blank and they can't figure out what is wrong. Even though you're telling them all the time, they just go blank. And they feel like if they don't confront the situation, it'll just go away. And they're not necessarily quiet quitting because they're planning on leaving the relationship. But most of the time when men quiet quit, they expect to put you through hell or to do nothing at all until you actually leave as a woman. So women and men are completely different when they quiet quit from what I've seen. But we're going to get into some of the men's responses and see what they have to say about it.
A partner who is not necessarily trying to end the relationship, but they're in it. They're just not, they've given up on the ability, the idea of working on the relationship.
Big thing is probably kids coming into the thing. Like, the dynamic changes, the intimacy could change.
Some people have tried so many times to connect, to work on the relationship, and they haven't been able to figure out how to do it effectively.
Yeah.
So that eventually you run up against a wall so many times, right? It's like you can't just keep putting yourself up against a wall like that. So things can happen from that. No one's ever talked about it that way, though, huh? Like, have you read about it in that term? Or
no, we just came up with it, bro.
This is fucking awesome.
Groundbreaking.
People are quiet quitting on relationships. I think it was Mel Robbins talk about this, slowly letting a relationship atrophy. It's not the big fight, the big breakup, the big thing. It's those tiny nicks. It's death by 1,000 cuts by not doing the thing that your partner needs in one little way. It could be as small as not putting the dish where you know your partner likes you to put the dish away. And you do that over and over again. And every single time you do that, it's a tiny sign of disrespect. And you don't think it's a big deal, but she does. And you're slowly chipping away. You're slowly quitting on that relationship.
Y'all do realize quiet quitting is not a new concept for black women. They've been doing it to their trash boyfriends for forever. Like, whenever, that's why she breaks up with you 3 months before.
Why people quiet quit at work makes a lot of sense to me. But as a therapist, I don't get why people quiet quit on a relationship. I think if you want to quit a relationship, then you should quit a relationship, or you should engage and try. But just agreeing to stay the course when the course isn't great anyway does not seem like a life strategy to me, or something that's ultimately going to be fulfilling. I realize it's not easy, but quiet quitting isn't either, because over time we develop regrets.
Whenever you see a good woman go silent, understand it took a lot for her to go silent. It's been a lot of expressing herself, bouncing her words off a brick wall that never got heard. Every time she expresses herself, it seems like she's nagging. It seems like she's just striking up an argument for no reason. But you gotta understand, whenever that woman goes silent, it's not because she don't care no more. It's just that if she's not being heard, what's the point of continue talking? But understand this though, once she goes silent, that's the beginning of the end. Unless you do a complete major turnaround without even her saying anything, that is the beginning of the end. And just know, you might lose that woman forever. It might not sink in your head yet, but just know,
I came across another one of those videos with a woman explaining to us that, when she leaves, well, she mentally left 6 months beforehand. Ladies, if you do this, or you think it's acceptable, I have terrible news. This is easily one of the most abusive, manipulative things you can do to a person. If you're lying to someone's face and pretending that you have a relationship with them, meanwhile, you have separated yourself and have most likely gone off to go look for a new partner, you are cowardly, you are manipulative, you are a liar, you are a dishonest person, you're childish. No one should have a relationship with any type of person who behaves this way. You have demonstrated through your actions that you are too childish to ever be in a serious relationship. If your partner knew this about you, that you had ever done this in the past, they should leave because you can't be trusted. You're not a trustworthy person. You are so cowardly and dishonest. You would smile at your partner's face, lie to them, tell them you love them. Meanwhile, you didn't believe a single word. You might as well cheat on them because that's what you're doing. You're betraying your partner. You're lying to their face. You might as well just seal the deal. Why are you half-assing it now?
She starts getting quiet. When you guys start arguing, it's not because she doesn't have anything to say. It's just because she's so tired of fighting and feels like there's nothing left to fight for. It means she's tired of explaining things to you and how she feels because she knows nothing's gonna change. Because if you were gonna change, you would have done it already. She's quiet because she doesn't want to complain about how bad things are anymore. Instead, she's doing some self-work and self-healing. Because if she can't get it from you, she's gonna give it to herself. She's quiet because she's ready not to quit, but to walk away and be the best person.
Quitting in a relationship or quiet dumping is when your partner chooses to only do the bare minimum required to date you without you breaking up with them. They're no longer going above and beyond for you. They've totally lost interest, but they don't want to be the ones to break it off. So they are showing up every day for you, but they're not really showing up. They're acting like a partner on paper. They're doing everything that a partner does. And to other people, it probably seems like everything's fine, but you know that spark is gone. And then when you confront them on it, they'll gaslight you and say, I'm not doing anything wrong. They'll remind you that they are indeed fulfilling the minimum expectations. Maybe they'll even bring up recent things that they've done well, but that's not enough. You deserve more than that. And they have to understand that they need to do more than the bare minimum of what is expected of them if they want to be.
So, surprisingly, ladies, a lot of them get it. A lot of them understand. At least the ones on this video understood why women quiet quit. It was just one bandit, the one that was deflecting, saying that you might as well go cheat, or you're wrong for being quiet and not talking to him and using him for his money. He's probably part of the manosphere because women don't typically do that. Women don't use their husbands for money. And if they do, it's because they have no other choice. They're a stay-at-home mom. They don't have resources. So in a lot of these situations, the men want their wives to depend on them for money because that is actually power to them and they have control over you. And that's why I hate seeing stay-at-home moms go through divorce, because it's going to be just extra hard on them because they have no money, they have no experience, and this is how a lot of men want it to be. And they won't listen to other women in the beginning because they're so in love, and my husband would never do that to me, he loves me, and he may love you, but people change. Your husband can change from 1 year to the next. He could change every 5 years. Women change too. Like, as a woman, I know I change my thoughts and opinions like every 5 years at least. So don't count on your husband loving you and staying the same. That man, he said, you might as well go cheat if you're going to do that, because he was deflecting, because that's probably what he would do. When a lot of men quiet quit, that's probably what they're doing. They have found somebody else to make them feel alive and appreciated and respected and loved, because that's the things that men are always saying they want from women. And a lot of women do give them that. I'm not saying all women do, but a lot of women, for the most part, give men the things that they want and desire because they want to fix relationships. Women are fixers. So a lot of men, they're only answer to every problem is, I need to go find somebody else. So they deflect and they say, well, she must be cheating. Like anything that's wrong, she must be cheating. And that's all they really think when we kind of separate ourselves from them, or we go silent, or we start acting different in any way. Like, and maybe you have cheated and maybe you haven't. But no matter if you have or you haven't, this is what they're going to always result to. I'm not saying that all women are innocent. I'm not saying that women don't cheat, but even if you have in the past and you're not now, or you just never have, this is always going to be what they come back to, cheating. Because that's the only thing their mind really connects to and goes to is sex, whether it's regarding you, because they think we're the same. They really think that we think like them and we are like them. So, I came up with this list of things that men think women leave them for. And as you can see, the list is very basic. She must be cheating. My isn't big enough. She wants to be a city girl. She just wants any excuse to leave because she's cheating. She still wants her ex back, or because she's an ungrateful bitch. So those are pretty much in a nutshell the top reasons that men think that women are leaving them, because they always think it's about sex, or because women want to be with another man, when in reality, these are the last reasons that women are usually leaving relationships. It goes so much deeper than this for women, and they don't care. Like, I've seen it time and time again. I'm sure you've all seen it time and time again, that they just don't care. That's what this entire video is about. We've exhausted every option. We've tried to speak to them in every single way. A lot of the ladies said it. And then that's what they call nagging, when you're trying to talk to them about these things. So I came up with another list for the ladies. And here are some of the reasons that ladies are saying that they don't want to be in these relationships anymore. Okay, so first one says he was addicted to porn, gambling, and video games. I'm sure a lot of ladies can relate to that. A lot of these males are out here addicted to porn, gambling, and video games. He refuses therapy and counseling. Usually when things are going wrong in a relationship, women are the ones that want to fix it by any means necessary. They want to go to counseling. They're asking them to go to counseling. Some of them will go and not participate, or some of them will go and pretty much blame everything on her, or some just won't go. He was jealous of the baby. A lot of women have babies and their husband or boyfriend gets jealous because all of her time and attention is going to the baby. She has to breastfeed and he wants to be on the other breast and he cannot be. A lot of women aren't getting help with these babies, but yet the men that help them create the babies are jealous of the babies. It's weird, I know, but I know a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. We never go on dates or vacations. You hear that a lot from women. If he's really bipolar or narcissistic or just crazy, you will hear a lot of women say that the men in their lives have threatened to unalive them and himself. He was cheating with hookers. Not just cheating, he was cheating with hookers. He was emotionally unavailable. He was physically and monetarily abusive. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to clean. He keeps touching our daughter. He's tried to sleep with friends and family. I know a lot of what I'm saying does not sound crazy because a lot of you have experienced this stuff. Like, if I'm lying, get in the comments and tell me what I'm lying about. And if I'm telling the truth and you experienced it, get in the comments and tell us about that too. His boyfriend tried to fight me or his girlfriend has tried to fight me. This is as his wife now, or his girlfriend that's been with him for years. A lot of women have went through this. Just random people coming up to them and trying to fight them,
Some women are finding out that some of these men are wanted in different countries and different states. Some men, like we just saw with the whole Risa Tisa story, I didn't talk about it. I refuse to talk about her. I refuse. But a lot of people are pathological liars. And a lot of men especially are pathological liars. A lot of men have poor hygiene. A lot of men are into pedophilia and necrophilia and I don't know, what's it called when they have, relations with animals? Y'all can let me know down in the comments. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, having just sex with anything. A lot of these men encourage the kids to disrespect their moms or hate their moms, especially if you get divorced. A lot of men are not responsible when it comes to budgeting and planning and saving for retirement. When you get to a certain age, like in your 30s and 40s, you start thinking about things differently and you see how hard it is for a lot of people to retire. And it's looking like a lot of us are not going to get to retire. And that's why women, like if you're in your 30s or even your 20s, that's something that you really need to start thinking about, because in the end, you don't know who's going to be there for you and who's going to be helping you. So that's just something to think about. And also, because we have a lot of mammies out here, a lot of males are mama's boys, and that's something that you really should know before you even get into a relationship with anybody nowadays, because if he has a mama that's really, really involved in his life and that's borderline like thinking that he's her husband or her man, that's a no-go from the beginning. So not only do their boyfriends pop up and try to fight you, their random girlfriends and women try to fight you. And last but not least, a lot of you are finding Princella the Queen Maker. And this is one reason a lot of women are waking up, and because I've listened to almost all of her shows, probably all of them, and I listened to all of the women calling in, and a lot of women had the strength and the courage to get out of relationships because they follow her channel. So if you don't follow Princella, y'all, I'm telling you right now, I love Princella. You may not agree with everything that she says, but one thing you can't call her is a liar. So yeah, I'm pretty much done with this video. If I left anything off of the list, if you can add anything to it, it's definitely a lot longer than the men's list for why they think women leave them, of course. But yeah, if I left anything off, drop it in the comments. And if you had anything to add to this video, I know a lot of women can relate to this video because most of us, we're the same. Like, I've talked to a lot of women and I've listened to a lot of women online, and a lot of us, we pretty much think the same. We're not like a monolith, but when it comes to relationships, like a lot of us do this, and it's just, apparently it's obvious because people are making videos about it. So yeah. Also, guys, y'all, these channels cannot grow without you all. So thank you for following me. I've had this channel for over a year and my numbers are stuck at the same. And I know YouTube is playing with my numbers. They play with all of our numbers. They're stopping me from seeing some of your comments. Sometimes I'll see your comments and then they'll just disappear, and I can see the number of comments and then they just disappear. And YouTube they really play with our numbers. And yeah, especially if you're saying anything about the patriarchy or males. So you guys, I really appreciate it if you would please like, comment, and subscribe, and share if you like these videos. I don't post a lot because I have a lot going on. I'm working a lot. I have kids. And it's just a lot of mental stuff that I'm working through right now. Like a lot of us, I'm sure, are, the economy is trash right now. And a lot of us are out here just trying to make our way and trying to survive and just keep our mental in check. So you guys, I thank you for listening, and like, comment, and subscribe, like I said, and follow me on my other platforms. Bye.